Welcome back to the channel. Imagine a tiny copper coin worth just half a penny or a single penny when it was minted, now commanding staggering prices of hundreds of thousands, even over $1 million at auction. Today we're counting down the top 2 Australian pennies that turned every day, pocket change into $1 million legends. Let's moving on. First up, the legendary 1923 Australian halfpenny. Collectors across the world regard it not simply as a piece of copper with a face value of half a penny, but as a genuine national treasure whose scarcity has propelled it to the forefront of numismatic history. When you look at the current market value of between $350,000 and $400,000, you are not just observing a price tag, but witnessing the culmination of over a century's worth of demand, provenance, and cultural recognition. This coin represents one of those extraordinary stories where history, minting anomalies, and economic forces combine to produce something so unique that it transcends ordinary collecting and enters the realm of elite investment. To truly appreciate why a small bronze coin minted over 100 years ago commands such astronomical figures, it is important to understand its origin. The year 1923 was one of unusual circumstance in Australian coinage. The Royal Australian Mint had not scheduled a full production of halfpennies for circulation in that year, yet a very limited number were struck, possibly in the range of just 15,000 to 20,000 coins, though many numismatists believe that even fewer survived into the present day. These coins were struck using dies originally prepared in 1922, with subtle alterations for the new year, which is why the numerals on the date have distinct characteristics that collectors use to verify authenticity. Unlike other coins that might have large surviving populations stored in banks, these 1923 halfpennies trickled into circulation quietly, without much notice, until years later when their absence became glaringly clear. The rarity of this coin is compounded by the fact that it circulated among ordinary Australians at a time when coins were a daily necessity, not collector's items to be carefully preserved. Many of the surviving examples exhibit wear from use, which makes specimens in high grade extraordinarily rare and exponentially more valuable. Collectors often prize even moderately circulated examples, but when one appears in mint state or near mint condition, it sparks a bidding war that reflects the fierce desire of numismatists and investors alike to own a piece of history so scarce that only a handful of people worldwide can ever claim possession. The market performance of the 1923 halfpenny over the decades reflects its unique status. What once was recognized merely as a rare curiosity has steadily risen into the upper echelons of collectible coins, commanding six-figure sums at auctions and in private sales. With each passing year, as more collectors enter the market and as wealth grows among those who view rare coins as stable long-term assets, the value of the 1923 halfpenny has only continued to climb. This is why valuations today place it firmly in the range of $350,000 to $400,000, depending on condition, provenance, and buyer interest. These are figures that position it not just as a collector's item but as an alternative asset, a tangible investment on par with fine art, rare wine, or precious gemstones. Beyond its financial value, this coin carries with it a strong sense of Australian identity and national pride. For many Australians, the 1923 halfpenny symbolizes the hardships and resilience of the early 20th century, when the nation was still finding its footing in the aftermath of World War I. Every coin struck during those times tells a story of daily commerce, of working families, and of the gradual evolution of a nation's economy. To own a 1923 halfpenny is not only to hold a rare object, but also to preserve a tangible reminder of Australia's formative years. Collectors who acquire such a piece often describe it not just as a financial acquisition but as an emotional and cultural connection to history. What makes the 1923 halfpenny even more alluring to high-net-worth collectors is the prestige that comes with ownership. Because there are so few available, and because demand stretches across Australia, the United Kingdom, the United States, and beyond. To have one in your possession immediately places you among a very small circle of elite numismatists. Auction houses use it as a centerpiece to draw attention. Publications regularly list it among the top rarities of world coinage. And museums often seek it for display to showcase the pinnacle of Australian minting rarity. It is a coin that commands respect wherever it appears, and the whispers of its legend ripple through the community every time an example comes to market. Provenance is another factor that contributes to the allure of these coins. Many known specimens have passed through famous collections, often with detailed records of prior owners. Each time one appears at auction, the coin's story grows richer as it moves from one custodian of history to another. This chain of ownership not only enhances the narrative surrounding the coin, but also cements its position as a piece of living history rather than an anonymous artifact. Investors and collectors often find that the history of who once held a coin is nearly as important as the coin itself, especially in the world of numismatics, where stories and legacies are just as valuable as metal and mintage. For those considering entering this market, it is crucial to understand that the 1923 halfpenny is not just another collectible but a cornerstone piece. Its rarity is finite. No new examples will ever be discovered in large numbers, and the few that exist are tightly held by collectors who understand the coin's magnitude. This scarcity ensures that demand will almost always outstrip supply, making it one of the safest and most reliable investments in numismatics. Its price appreciation over the past several decades demonstrates this clearly, and with current values sitting in the $350,000 to $400,000 range, it is evident that the coin is firmly established as one of the great investment-grade rarities of the 20th century. In conclusion, the 1923 Australian halfpenny is far more than a halfpenny piece. It is a national treasure, a symbol of rarity, a marker of history, and a world-class investment asset. To own one is to join an exclusive group of custodians who understand not only its financial worth but also its cultural and historical significance. With each passing year, its legend grows and its scarcity deepens, making it one of the most coveted and celebrated coins ever produced in Australia. The price range of $350,000 to $400,000 is not merely a reflection of the metal it was struck from, but of its place in history, its irreplaceable rarity, and the passion it inspires in collectors worldwide. Next up, the 1930 Australian penny is without question the crown jewel of Australian numismatics, a coin so rare and so steeped in mystery that it has achieved near mythical status both in Australia and abroad. To even speak of it is to conjure images of numismatic lore, whispers of hidden hoards, and the pride of collectors who dedicate lifetimes to the pursuit of something so elusive. With a market value that now stands in the extraordinary range of $1 million to $1.5 million at auction, this coin is not just money in bronze form. It is a story, a legend, and an asset of unparalleled distinction. It embodies the perfect storm of scarcity, history, cultural importance, and sheer prestige qualities that only the world's most valuable and most coveted coins possess. The story of the 1930 penny begins in the depths of the Great Depression, a time when Australia, like much of the world, was struggling economically. Records show that no official order was made to produce pennies for circulation in 1930, yet, against the odds, a small number of coins were struck, likely using leftover dies from 1929, to test minting equipment or perhaps to provide examples for internal use. Whatever their true origin, these few coins somehow found their way into circulation, quietly and without fanfare. For decades, no one paid much attention to them. Pennies were merely the lifeblood of daily commerce, used for bread, milk, and newspapers. The thought that some of these humble copper discs would one day fetch 7 figures would have seemed unimaginable. It wasn't until the mid-20th century that the numismatic community began to realize the sheer rarity of this coin. Unlike other issues where mint records provide clear mintage figures, the 1930 penny's origins were shrouded in ambiguity. This added an element of mystery that only heightened its desirability. Estimates suggest that perhaps only 1/500 were ever struck, and of those, only around 200 are believed to survive today. Many of the surviving examples are worn, bearing the scars of years of circulation in the pockets of ordinary Australians. To hold one is to hold a piece of copper that not only survived nearly a century but also carried with it the untold stories of the Depression, years when every penny truly mattered. The coin's scarcity is the foundation of its astronomical value, but condition plays a vital role in determining just how high the price can soar. A heavily circulated example will still command extraordinary sums, but when a 1930 penny surfaces in higher grades, coins that retain much of their original detail, sharper features, and even traces of mint luster, the effect is electrifying. Auction houses around the world prepare their stages with the same care they would give to displaying a Rembrandt or a Stradivarius, knowing that the bidding frenzy will draw the eyes of collectors, investors, and media alike. Each time one of these rarities crosses the auction block, headlines follow, reinforcing the coin's legendary reputation and its price. Trajectory into the stratosphere. The allure of the 1930 penny is also deeply rooted in its cultural significance. It is more than a coin, it is a national treasure. For Australians, it has become a symbol of resilience, scarcity, and identity. It connects directly to one of the most difficult periods in the nation's history, when hardship was the norm, and yet somehow this coin slipped into circulation, surviving to remind future generations of that era. Owning a 1930 penny is akin to holding a direct line to the lived experience of the Depression, when pennies bought meals, when coins were cherished, and when wealth was measured in coins like these. For collectors abroad, the 1930 penny represents the pinnacle of world numismatics, comparable to the 1804 US dollar or the 1933 double eagle. The provenance of known 1930 pennies adds further layers to their mystique. Many are documented with detailed histories of ownership, often passing through the hands of some of the most renowned collectors in the world. These pedigrees enhance the value of the coin beyond its already staggering worth, providing context and continuity to its journey. Auction catalogues proudly trace the lineage of each specimen, and to add your name to that chain of ownership is, for many collectors, a legacy in itself. In numismatics, history is not only in the coin itself, but also in the stories of those who valued and protected it across generations. The market value of $1 million to $1.5 million reflects more than supply and demand. It reflects the coin's entrenched position as the ultimate Australian rarity. Investors with an eye for diversification increasingly view such numismatic treasures as safe havens, assets that not only preserve wealth but also appreciate over time. In an era of fluctuating financial markets, tangible assets, like the 1930 penny, provide stability and prestige. Unlike stocks or bonds, this coin cannot be diluted, duplicated, or recreated. Its scarcity is absolute, its allure timeless, and its place in history unshakable. This explains why its price has climbed consistently over decades, and why experts predict that its value will continue to rise as availability dwindles and global interest intensifies. What sets the 1930 penny apart from other rare coins is its aura of unattainability. For most collectors, it represents the ultimate dream piece, something to aspire to but rarely to achieve. This aspirational quality fuels interest in all levels of Australian numismatics, as even those who cannot afford the $1 million price tag are captivated by the story, inspired by the legend, and motivated to pursue other rarities. The coin acts as a flagship for the entire Australian collecting community, its fame elevating the status of all Australian coins on the global stage. When one does appear at auction, the world watches. The room fills with anticipation, and bidders, both in person and online, position themselves to compete for ownership of history itself. Each hammerfall sets a new benchmark, each sale writing another chapter in the ongoing saga of the 1930 penny. Whether the final figure lands closer to 1 million or pushes to 1.5 million or beyond, the result reaffirms the coin's supremacy. It is not just an exchange of money for metal, it is the transfer of custodianship for one of the greatest treasures in the numismatic world. In the end, the 1930 Australian penny is not merely a coin, it is a phenomenon. It embodies everything that collectors seek: mystery, rarity, cultural significance, financial value and prestige. It is a tangible symbol of history, a prized possession that transcends its modest copper composition to become something almost priceless. At 1 million to 1.5 million, its value is undeniable, but its true worth lies in its story, its legend, and the passion it ignites in everyone who hears its name. To own one is to step into a select group of individuals who understand not only the monetary magnitude of the coin, but also its role as a living relic of Australia's past, present and future.